Welcome. So the following is a sequence to help to loosen up any lower back tension. What I tend to go to when my back is feeling stiff is not deep stretching. What I like to do is to slowly move into some mobility exercises and then gently build up many repetitions, starting from a small range of motion to a larger range of motion. So the invitation is for you to explore your range of motion, but within a pain-free range. So you have to be really mindful and present to really feel what's going on in the body when you work with these different exercises. So we'll get started. So coming to lie down onto your back. Come to have your feet hip width apart, close to the buttocks, and then bring your arms. The arms can either go down by your sides, they can come up in cactus, or they can be outstretched. From here, what we're going to work with is the pelvic tilt. But what I want you to explore is that you have a clock on top of the ceiling above you, and as you drop your pubic bone down towards the floor, this is 6 o'clock. And then we're going to reverse that movement by slowly dropping the back of the pelvis, the lower lumbers, the mid lumbers, and the upper lumbers to the floor. And the end range of this motion is 12 o'clock. So we go to 6 o'clock by gently peeling off the lumbars, arching through so you can see that my hand can come through at the end range. And then from here, the pubic bone is going to draw towards the nose as I tilt the pelvis back towards the floor. So the intention here is to really explore moving segment by segment, rather than moving as a unit. Now my lumbar spine is quite flat and really locked up, so I have to really bring a lot of intention and attention into this movement. So we slowly move one segment at a time, as much as you can, pressing the lumbar spine down on towards the floor. And then from here, you're going to gently uncurl, dropping the pubic bone down towards the floor and peeling off the lower lumbers, the mid lumbers, and the upper lumbers. And keep my arms up so you can see this. So then we press down through the feet, get the back of the pelvis to the floor, then go to the lower lumbers, the mid lumbers, and the upper lumbers, and then we're going to reverse that movement. So we keep the feet pressing into the floor as we drop the tailbone, and slowly we try and peel off segment by segment by segment. Okay. And with your breath, the intention with your breath is to allow your breath to flow naturally, because the speed of the movement may not coincide with the length of your breath. We want to explore the movement naturally, but keep maintaining a natural rhythm of breath. Try not to hold the breath. And then we're going to work from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. So how we do this is we push through the left foot, and you'll see that as I push through the left foot, my right hip sinks to the floor. Then I'm going to push through my right foot, and as I do that, my right hip lifts off and my left hip presses down towards the floor. So I'm just going to rock from one side to the other. And you should see that basically this action is as I push through my right foot, my right hip goes up. As I push through my left hip goes up, but my right hip comes down. So it's this action that's happening in the hips. Just doing that to so you can see this motion. You don't have to do this with your arms. And I'm keeping my rib cage relatively still. And where I'm working is mainly through the pelvis and the lumbar region. So you can see how I'm just keeping the stability in my rib cage. My shoulders blades stay pretty stable and close to the floor.
And you can bring your hands onto your rib cage just to emphasize that contact with the floor behind as you walk through your feet and mobilize through your hips. Now we're going to put that together in a circle. So we're going to go to 6 o'clock. Then I'm going to roll over to 3. So I'm going to push through my left foot to get my right hip down. And then roll through 12 over to 9. So when I get to 9, I push through the right foot to drop the left hip. And this is the tricky bit. To get to 6, I have to push, almost grip with my heels to bring myself into a tilt where I take the tailbone down towards the floor. Then I'm going to push through my left foot to take my right hip down on towards the ground. As I get to the right, as the hip comes down, I then come to press the whole of my back to the floor as I travel through 12. And then working that way. Great. So we slowly go all the way around, and I'm going to start to now pick up the speed a little. And I'm going for full range of motion here, so that you can see the movement and the action of the movement, but you don't have to go to full range to start with. You can start small and gradually build up. And I'm going to go the opposite direction, so I'm going 6, 9, 12, 3, 6, 9, as I go through 12, and then to 3. And there will be areas where you feel it's a bit sticky, and just gently move through those areas. Try not to skim any areas. If you feel that there's just blocks of movement where you're not gradually dropping down and gradually peeling off, put great emphasis here. Take your time to really work into those areas. Okay, and then we're going to come back to the center. And then I'm going to take my legs wide, mat distance apart, and bring the heels in towards the bottom. Again, I'm keeping my arms up so you can see what's happening from this region down. Arms can be in whichever area you want, but just keep your shoulder blades down on towards the floor. From here, as I exhale, I'm going to drop my knees to one side, keeping the legs wide, and then as I inhale, I'm going to come back up to the center, and exhale, go to the opposite side. So I'm just going to gently rock from one side to the other, and if you watch my feet stay flexed. So I'm not relaxing the feet are active. This will keep stability through the ankle joint and through the knee. And then I'm just going to rock with my breath. I inhale, bring them up to the center, and then I exhale, drop them down. And when you drop them down, try not to arch all the way through the back. The intention is to keep your rib cage pretty close to the floor. So we stabilize through the rib cage, and you can feel the difference between doing it like this, where you arch, or when you keep your rib cage low and gently work. You'll feel that there's much more mobility and opening happening around this lower torso area. Just to emphasize through this now, we're just going to add a little flavor to it by, at the end of here, we're going to squeeze this top buttock, and then you're going to inhale, come back up to the center, and as you exhale, drop to the other side and squeeze that top buttock, and you should start to feel an opening coming through the front of that hip and the front of that thigh. Again, keep your rib cage low, the shoulder blades grounded. Keep your face relaxed, your jaw relaxed, and the breath relaxed. And just gently move with your breath. You can go slowly, really slowly, or just a little bit more free, depending on how your back is feeling. And then gently bring the legs back to the center. And then from here, we're just going to come into knee to chest. So we bring one knee in, and that might feel fine to keep your supporting leg bent, or you might wish to straighten it out. It depends on how you're feeling. And then you draw that knee in and gently shift, open out. So extend through the inner ankle of your straight leg if you straighten the leg. and then bring it in. And again, keep the foot flexed to both feet. And we hold here. And then we do that a couple of times. And then from here, what you're going to do is you're going to gently bring your knees back up to the center, and then we're going to rock gently over from one side to the other, keeping the knees close to the chest. Then gently drop your feet down towards the floor, and then we're going to roll all the way over, come into all fours. And then from here, you're going to come into all fours, tuck the toes under, and then gently come down onto your elbows. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to place the top of the head onto the floor. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little bit of a cushion with my fingers, so there's not too much weight going through the crown of my head. The emphasis of this is we're going to move just gently this area, and I don't want the thoracic area to move. So by bringing my head into this position, what I'm doing is I'm closing off the movement from this sort of T12 junction all the way up to the crown of the head. And then I'm going to bring my emphasis to the tailbone and the sitting bone. So I bring in concentration and attention to these two bones that sit at the base of the pelvis. Tune into your breath. And then we're going to slowly do exactly what we were doing on the floor, pelvic tilts, but just at that lumbar area. So I'm going to first of all lift that tailbone up, lift the sitting bones up. And then I'm going to slowly drop the tailbone and the sitting bones down into the backs of the knees. And we're going to slowly work. So what you feel is that you're only working a small part of the lumbar area as we drop the tailbone down, tuck the tailbone under, and then we bring the hips back up. So it's a really small movement. And you'll find that your breath will connect in with a regular rhythm here. You might find that the exhale is when the tailbone drops down. The inhale is when the sitting bones lift up. I'm just doing that a couple more breaths. And then from there, you're going to flatten your feet, then gently sink your bottom back towards your heels. Straighten out your arms, open the knees a little wider. If you find that sitting back onto your heels is challenging, you can stick a block underneath, or you can stick a cushion underneath to create some support for the sitting bones. From here, we reach the arms out, lengthen the elbows away, and then you're going to make one fist or two fists, whatever feels comfortable, and rest your forehead down. Tune into your breath here. And sense breathing diaphragmatically. So you want to breathe into the base of your rib cage, using the kind of the touch, the feel of your rib cage against your thighs to work with your breath. So you want to sense that the breath is moving deeply all around this area. And if you put your mind there and your intention there, you'll allow the breath will eventually arrive there. So it's not necessarily about drawing in a huge volume of oxygen. It's more about lengthening the breath but reducing the volume. It's more about the expansion and the direction of that expansion. We'll stay here just for another couple of breaths, using the breath to breathe deeply into any areas of tension in that lower back. And then from here, on your inhalation, gently bring your torso up and reach your right arm over to the outside of your mat. Reach your left hand over the top, interlace the fingers, and then you're going to sink down the left buttock deeply down. You're deepening that hip crease right down towards that heel. Drop the ears so that they're in line with the upper arms, and you reach your arms forward as you reach your pelvis back. Once again, Bring a focus to breathing diaphragmatically. And then on your next exhalation, slowly rotate your torso so that you can gently look up underneath your right arm. Keep both elbows straight. And breathe wide into the rib cage, the base of the rib cage. Keep the eyes relaxed, the jaw relaxed. You're going to feel this opening and stretching through the outer left shoulder and torso. And then when you're ready on your inhalation, gently come back to the center. So then we gently, from this point, move our left hand over to the outside of the mat and interlace our right fingers over the top. From here, deepen your right hip crease so the right buttock sinks down towards the heel. Interlace those fingers. Bring your ears to the inside of your upper arms and then reach your hands away from your pelvis, especially that right hip, and your right hip away from your arms. Tune into breathing diaphragmatically, breathing into any areas where you feel any tension, and then on the next exhalation, you're going to slowly rotate and the torso up to look underneath your left arm. Tune into your breath. And then when you're ready, on your next available in-breath, then just gently bring yourself back to the center. And then from there, we're just going to come up into all fours. And then you're going to circle around the hips and the pelvis. Just notice if there's any pockets of tension. Gently give yourself a little wriggle around, release any tension in the back. And then you're just going to come to rest in a child's pose once again. And this time just tuning into the breath, breathing deep in towards the pelvis. And then you can either come out of that and come to rest in a lying down position, or you can then move on with your day. So this is just a little short sequence that you can do whenever you're feeling any tension in that lower back. But gently move into these movements. Don't go full range straight away. It's almost like you're oiling the joints, almost like that slowly moving creaky joints. So just take your time with it and luxuriate in, small movements and then building into larger movements if your body allows for it. So thank you very much for joining. If you have any questions about this practice, do get in contact. Thank you.